that is a mess. That is a bunch of stuff that was in a kitchen in this building, a very important building, that is all dirty. It has rat poo and piss on it. Sorry to be gross, but it's the rat's fault. Actually, they're mice. They're mice, and they're totally cute. And so it's a bummer to kill them, because they're just trying to be mice. On the other hand, they're inconveniently located, and that's partly due to bad building design. Also, letting them get out of control, because if you have a little bit of mice and you don't take care of them, pretty soon you have a whole bunch of mice. And I have experience with that, so there's some wisdom that is really no big surprise at all. So, I'm just out here on the terrace of the view, so you can get to know the place and where you are. This is a kitchen where there's a bucket here that gets filled up from this tinaco up here. It's been the rainy season, so that's full. But that means there's very little water up there to run this whole kitchen. So what I do is I have this bucket get filled manually, and then the water comes down to this sink, and it goes down to this bucket, and then you have to empty the bucket by hand. And what this does is cause a consciousness of how you use water, how much water you're going to use. Now there's a flaw in it, and pardon me, I'm sick. I'll get better. So why would you design a kitchen like this? It's totally stupid, right? It's just very inconvenient. Want to just hook the cistern up to the bucket or just to the sink, and then have the water go down to a drain, and it could even go underground and just be gray water underground. Totally easy, right? Totally true. You're right. Except that this is an example kitchen to help people be more aware of their water usage. How much water are we using in this space with the people we have in it at the moment? This kitchen will probably get changed out later. This is an example kitchen. There's people who just have buckets and do things out of buckets. That's the most common thing in the world. That's also a good way to run a kitchen so people learn how to use water carefully. But this is a special example, and it works out really well. It's been serving me well for a number of years now. If somebody forgets to empty the bucket, it fills up too much, and then they're annoyed at the people who didn't empty it. This raises consciousness of where does our gray water go? And it goes right over there. We just dump it over there. It's not tricky. Nice shaded garden. This garden gets dew off of this roof. This is a dew garden, D-E-W. And there's some cool plants in there. Just fine. Of course, we could improve something about that, but who cares, really? We use very little water here. The flaw here in this is this tube right here. This is a clear tube that is hooked up here higher than the bucket so that it tells you the level of water in the bucket. I think this needs to be removed. I added that design element so I could see how high the water was so I could know if I needed to fill it up. The truth is, I never check it, and it's completely a health hazard. Now, why don't I check it? I don't check it because stuff is grown on it, inside of it. This black shit here, that stuff is on the inside. And it used to be more greenish, and that was because the light was hitting it. This is almost like a appendix, maybe, to put it in a good sense. It's like the appendix of the water system. Maybe there's actually good bacteria in there that do something good, but I'm guessing that it's very contrary to my philosophy. I'm not guessing this, I'm saying it. This is contrary to my philosophy to have sunlight hitting your water that you're storing, because stuff will grow in it. And you can evidence that yourself by putting some water out in the sun, and green stuff will grow in it, or something. Something's going to grow in it. So this clear tube shouldn't be here. Should I put a black tube? No, the point is that it was clear so you could see the water level, which it turns out I don't even need to know. I do not need to know the water level in this because it runs out and then I respond by filling it. I never even look at this tube anyway. Now, if somebody wanted to design a stick up here or something that would show you the level neat, but on a 5-gallon bucket, I don't know if it's worth it. And maybe it would be. Certainly it couldn't hurt anyone. The top of this 5-gallon bucket here is just a piece of wood with some hose in it. You can see it here. Very simple. And that seals it enough that stuff usually doesn't get in it too much. Now my water, you know, I've tested the purity of it. This is one of my more questionable systems, and at this moment I would recommend people not drink water out of this because of this dirty pipe right here. So I would tell people when they come here, do not drink this water. You know what I'm doing? I'm drinking this water. That's because also I am testing really how picky we got to be with this crap. You know, I've been drinking rainwater for a long time, and it does seem like people think it's a exotic idea. And I know that we were evolved drinking out of rivers and stuff, and streams, and maybe we had a little bit of rainwater, depends on where you live. But I'm really against the whole centralized water system. It's a bad idea on so many levels. One of them is that you don't have any control over your water, and so somebody's going to control it for you, and therefore they control you. You can bet on it. If you do not have control over your water, someone else will, and they will have control over you. Of course, that's true of food as well. At this point, electricity, maybe communications for some people. But if we don't have control of our land, our water, our food, then someone else will control us always. Now in this case, I'm just playing around, right? It's just a kitchen. And so it's just to help our awareness about like how much water we're using. And of course, I don't filter it in this system at all. And I've been drinking it, and other people have been drinking it. This is not a problem. Now I need to get a microscope. I need to be a good scientist. I need to test this, not just on myself. I'm willing to do that, but I want to take care with other people. And in this case, I'm going to fix this system, remove that hose, and we don't need an indicator currently of how full that bucket is. It was just an idea I had. So, not all ideas are the best ones. Actually, the idea is fine. It just didn't end up being a good design.